Bryant Dalton Sr. back around, going to stay in that quick time performance right lane. Some of you guys need to test out the Larice lane there on the left, because you got to run in that tomorrow too, boys. Everybody so far has been going down the right-hand lane, that quick time performance lane. But again, Dalton out of Sevierville, Tennessee. There in his 63 Ford Falcon. Robin Harris going to back him up this time. All right, we're here in Sevierville, Tennessee. I've just been through Sevierville, Tennessee. We're here in Knoxville Dragway, Majorsville, Tennessee for the Mountain Madness. I want to welcome in all our viewers out there on the live stream that we have up and going on our Facebook page, as well as our YouTube channel. Another nice pass by the 67 Camaro there. We are in practice, our test and tune, if you want to call it that, or our fan fest, as some people call it. A lot of guys will be going down the track on a single, but you may catch a couple go down the track together. Local hometown racer right here, Ted McKee, our 2023 world champion in B-Gas, has his B-Gas entry in the quick time performance right lane. Gene Fulton horsepower underneath the hood for him in a car that he calls the Rocky Top Missile. And that's just what he's hoping to do, is to get that missile going again, as he struggled a little bit the last few races, but still sits number 2 in our points right now in B-Gas, trying to chase down the renegade of Ken Rainwater. Ted McKee staying very solid at lapse time right there. Took his time on the tree a little bit, but solid pass right there with Ted McKee. Wheels up as he left in that Chevy 2 of his. He may shut that one down after a run like that. Next up, going to have an A-Gas entry here. Barry Adler out of Moore, South Carolina in the Iron Eagle. What a beautiful shot, that Iron Eagle going down the racetrack in his burnout with that American flag on there. Of course, they'll remove that before they go down the racetrack in practice or race trim, but he likes to do that in his burnouts, and I tell you what, it is a beautiful sight to see. '63 split window Corvette right there. His wife Jessie Adler out front backing him up. Car that he calls the Iron Eagle, 451 cubic inches of Gene Fulton power underneath the hood. I don't know what's small about a 451 cubic inch, but he likes to call it a small big block. Adler going to back up and roll into the beams just a little bit more, get him some more practice. First year for Barry Adler out here in the Southeast Gassers, and he jumped straight into the deep end of the pool into A gas, the most competitive division as far as the speeds go. That's going to be our quickest class we have, and he's already won a race down at Brainerd Motorsports Park earlier this year. How to get him in the ballpark in A gas right there. All right, first man to try out the MAHLE Motorsports Insurance left-hand lane is going to be the Alabama racer Todd Oden, defending SEGA world champion there in the 1958 Del Rey out of Birmingham, Alabama, the Double X. One-Way Technologies motor underneath the hood for Todd Oden. His wife Gina going to bring him up to the beams right here, as he's going to be the first one down, or I'm sorry, that'd be the second one down on the left side. We have had a super stock car go down in the left lane, so Todd Oden going to try out the MAHLE Motorsports Insurance left-hand lane. Well, if that's his first pass he's put on that motor, because I know they were putting it in on Wednesday night, that's a solid C-gas pass for the first time down the racetrack. Following him up is going to be the Atlanta, Georgia racer, Rob Walden in the 63 Biscayne that he calls the Strychnine. Rob Walden, the son of Lamar Walden, Mr. 409, and he has that car painted up identical to his dad's. Rob Walden, the winner at Brainerd Motorsports Park a little earlier this year, breaking the streak of Jerry Dean, driver of the last Rebel 2. All right, H-gas entry right there of Aiken, South Carolina's Larry Noel. The 48 Anglia called the Crazy Pony. Gives you an idea of what it's going to look like for our H-gas class this Knoxville race. Chase Howard from Greer, South Carolina, turns around the corner in his 67 Chevelle, the USA 1. Gene Fulton power plant underneath the hood there, 477 cubic inches. Man sits number 2 in our points for A-Gas right here. Going to go down to Larice Motorsports Insurance left lane. Nice pass right there by Chase Howard. I'm sure that everybody in that camp will be feeling good about that pass. Come from an A-gasser, going to go over to the quick time performance lane for the Tricky Mickey of Mickey Huddleston, a super stock entry right there. Points leader right now in our B-Gas category and former world champion Ken Rainwater out of Kimberly, Alabama. He's in the Larice Motorsports lane here on the left-hand side. Going to make a hit here tonight. See what this Knoxville Dragway will hold for B-Gas cars. Good hard pass right there for him. That looked like something that they were trying to work on. So that looked like a very intentional shutdown run. So that's how technical it's getting, especially in every category, much less B-Gas. Mark Jones up next in the quick time 3, the 1937 Chevrolet. One-Way Technologies horsepower underneath the hood for Art Jones. Elizabeth, Arkansas, where Jones is from, in the Mini Quick 3. All right, Ben Shaw back around here in the odd rod for a second pass. As we said before, Ben Shaw out of Lebanon, Tennessee. Shaw Audio Incorporated and the Music City Rod Shop, helping pay the bills for the 1941 Chevrolet truck with Ford horsepower under the hood. Now, he went down the QuickTime Performance lane earlier. He's going to go down the Larice lane this time, see if he can solve that bouncing problem that he had on the starting line the last pass. All right, Campobella, South Carolina racer Mike Blackwell in that beautiful 55 Thunderbird, the Thunderstruck. G. Fulton power plant underneath the hood for him. His daughter-in-law Mandy going to back him up. Good to see Mike back out here. Hopefully we'll see Todd, his son, in his A-gas car, the Slingshot, maybe even tonight or tomorrow for competition. And I do see Todd down there, and he's got his racing pants on, so that's a good sign. Really good pass right there for Mike Blackwell. I think he'll be pleased with that incremental and the ET when he sees it coming out of the ET shed. Lacey's Spring, Alabama racer right here. Jerry Dean finds himself in the QuickTime Performance right lane. He is the man that has had a virtual stranglehold on the Superstock division for about the past 2 years. And the reason why stands right out in front. That's Karen Mitchell, crew chief of the last Rebel 2. Jerry and Karen make a very, very potent combination as they test a lot. And it has really shown with the performance of that last Rebel 2, the little Chevy 2. Holy mackerel. I should have had the mic in my hand for that one. Never seen Jerry Dean standing up like that, but wow, what a wheel stand by Jerry Dean. This Knoxville Dragway got some teeth in it, especially over there in that quick time performance lane as Alan Pittman gets ready to follow that up. But what a wheel stand right there by Jerry Dean. Man. Fulton race engine under the hood right there for Alan Pittman in this beautiful Sward and Pittman 41 Willis. Little half-track pull right there by Alan Pittman. Another former pro modified world champion here racing with us. AFX car on the line right here, getting ready to get on the line. That is Jeffrey Ferguson out of Mississippi. Jeffrey Ferguson has finished first in a couple of races. Looks like we're going to have to shut him down. They got a little moisture on the track. Man, that's a lot of moisture on the track. A little smoke coming out, so I don't know what that's going to mean for Jeffrey, but we're going to have to shut it down right here. Looks like that is going to be terminal. That is oil on the racing surface. So, it's going to take a few minutes on that quick time performance for right lane. Well, just to let you know, fans, we got some oil on the racetrack. That's going to take some time to get up. I'll put the crew here at Knoxville Dragway to the test. So don't know what it's going to be on an ETA of getting back to action for you. But we will be back to action just as quickly as possible. For all you listening out there in our Southeast Gasser page or on our Facebook page and our YouTube channel. So you hang in there with us. We'll keep this live flowing, and we will catch you just as soon as we know something further.
Well, you and I both that's natural for us. And hey, you talk about the big quick career, I know you were at went on with the career, so what do you do and what are you trying to find out? That's good, right? for many years, and they wanted to do this great time. I was working out, and I said, hey, let's take gas and go slow to start with. No, let's gas break. And I said, it's pretty quick, John. I said, I'm going to put this thing on the wall, and then I'm going to go so here you can wait until everything's on the
right, Enoch Dixon up next right here, going to be in the MAHLE Motorsports Insurance left lane. Enoch Dixon in that Falcon. That pass right there is going to be hard pressed to be competitive in A gas, but we'll see if he can get things going. John McLaughlin is going to be up next out of Alabama in the disorderly conduct, the 48 Anglia. In the MAHLE Motorsports left-hand lane. MAHLE Motorsports Insurance for all your insurance needs for your race car. With a little trouble on the line right there and having some problems shifting, but him running around and probably make another pass here this evening, trying to better that. McLaughlin, a first-year racer with us. 427 cubic inches of FE Ford power underneath the hood of this AFX car that you see in front of you of Alan Platt. This car, a direct replica of his father, Houston Platt's car, the Georgia Shaker 3. Alan Platt staying hot with a good elapsed time right there for AFX cars. All right, man who won our last event in Jackson, Tennessee, Ben Christopher. Out of Bowling Springs, South Carolina in the happy days, the 1966 Chevy 2. He finds himself in the MAHLE Motorsports Insurance left lane. Jason Line providing the horsepower underneath the hood for Ben Christopher. Christopher's car was on an absolute rail in Jackson, Tennessee, taking the victory there wire to wire. So he hopes to bring that momentum and keep it here in the state of Tennessee at Knoxville Dragway for this event that we have this weekend here at the MAHLE Motorsports Mountain Nationals. Short shift there for Christopher off the line. Having a little bit of traction problems, but might be something very simple to fix. He may make another pass this evening, try to get a clean one in. Next up, we just talked to him just in the staging lanes. That's Ted McKee, Lenore City, Tennessee racer. McKee, our 2023 world champion in B gas. 320 cubic inches of Gene Fulton power underneath the hood right here for Ted McKee in the Rocky Top Missile. Alexis Phillips backing up McKee as he gets ready to make his second hit right here of the night. First one was in the Quick Time Performance lane. This one's going to be in the Larice Motorsports Insurance left lane. Car moves hard to the right there on McKee as he thinks better of it, pushes into clutch and shuts it off. 0.96 on the reaction time right there for McKee on that hit. Another man we got to interview down in the staging lanes during that downtime was Rick Taylor. The Canadian who lives now in Arizona finds himself on the line in his 53 Corvette in SEGA trim. And what a beautiful race car this is. Once again, it was his uncle's car. He said it was in terrible shape, and the only thing that could be used off of it was the body, as it had sat for 37 years. So underneath that shell, it got some all new parts and pieces. All right, Kenny Phillips in the street legal over there. He's going to be in the Quick Time Performance right lane. Remember, Wes Clapp offered a cheeseburger to the first man that went down the racetrack, and that was Kenny Phillips a little earlier today. Keeley going to put him in the beams right there. Street legal car sounding mean out there for a super stock entry. Sounds really good. All right, the gift sitting on the line right now, super stock entry. All right, 58 Corvette of Kenneth Phillips, the Silver Streak out of Campobello, South Carolina. Coming out of that water box hot with that Fulton motor underneath the hood. He's going to be in the Larice Motorsports Insurance left lane. Fiance Keeley backing him up. Kenneth Phillips, former world champion in our A-gas category, has run nothing but A-gas. To my count, 17 wins in his career in A-gas, as he has been the elder statesman in A-gas, being around since, I think maybe the beginning. I might be wrong on that. I could be corrected, but I think he has been, since the first couple of races, Kenneth Phillips has been racing with the Southeast Gassers and all in A-gas. The race car skating down the racetrack, but he puts up a big number right there. That was a nice pass by Kenneth Phillips. Tony T going to find himself in the MAHLE Motorsport's left-hand lane. Jaron Perdue sits in the QuickTime Performance water box back there. I don't know if he's going to make a solo pass or if he's going to go down alongside Tony T. It does not look like he is going to make a pass beside Tony T. All right, Jaron Perdue in Fulton's Ghost, car that he has renamed. Car used to be the stud muffin and won 3 world championships. Perdue bought it, just kept that Gene Fulton power underneath it, incorporated Quayne Stott as car chief on there. So this is his first pass of the day, going down the QuickTime Performance right-hand lane. Does Jaron Perdue out of Peoples, Ohio. All right, John Wise here in the Barracuda, super stock car right there. Nice pass for him. Next up, coming up through A-Gas, the quickest cars here on the property. This is Todd Blackwell in the slingshot. 66 Nova. Par race engine underneath the hood for him. Todd's our 2018 B-Gas World Champion, and he's been in A-Gas competition ever since 19. His wife Mandy out in front of the car, going to bring him back and get him lined up. His dad, Mike, the driver and owner of the Thunderstruck. I don't know where I got chicken from. We got a lot of chickens and birds and all kind of fowl around this area. But the Thunderstruck is the 55 Thunderbird. Lots of wheel spin right there, so basically going to back half this run and just abort the beginning half of the run for Todd Blackwell right there. Scott Wallace coming up next in the Indian Express. He's out of Elmira, Illinois. 1952 Pontiac right here on the line. Tell you what, folks, check out that hood ornament as it lights up here in the night of Knoxville, Tennessee. Those Pontiacs famous for that. And he has a working hood ornament right there on that 1952 Pontiac. That is really, really cool if you ask me. I like that a lot. So that is Scott Wallace. It's a Seagas car. Somebody trying to get out of the trunk of that Indian Express might be a Navajo or a Renegade, as Ken Rainwater may be hiding in the back of that thing. All right, Jeffrey Ferguson, who oiled the track down a little earlier, it didn't look like he punched a hole in the oil pan. I don't know where that oil was coming from, but here he is back out here in AFX trim in that Chevy 2. The Wild and Woolly 2. Car that has been the hottest car in our AFX category here lately. Ferguson, a driver in many different disciplines of racing, and has been over 300 miles an hour at the Bonneville Salt Flats as well. So an accomplished driver is Jeffrey Ferguson, and a wonderful fabricator, as you can see right here with this mechanically fuel injected 427 underneath the hood of this Chevy 2. All right, a gas point leader right now and defending world champion Leslie Horn in the 1955 Chevy 2. The 1955 Chevy that he calls the Chick Magnet. I'll get it all right before tomorrow. The Chick Magnet. He sits in the Larice Motorsports Insurance left lane. Going to make a hit here tonight in practice. Fulton of competition underneath the hood for him, 477 cubic inches. The cubic inch of choice for Horn. So Leslie Horn doesn't sound like that car's feeling too good right there on that pass. So we'll see what happens. He'll probably turn it around and come back. Randy Kiefer, another one of these volunteers from the state of Tennessee, in his car that he calls the Spine Tingler 2, a 1956 Pontiac Chieftain wagon. He has it in C gas after running a couple of years in our Superstock category. 406 cubic inches of Butler Performance race engine underneath the hood right there. Still on that 7-inch spec tire. I'm sorry, he's not in Superstock anymore, so he doesn't have to be on that spec tire. All right, there's old Leroy with the green eyes. I call him the green-eyed goblin of Wayne Swafford, sitting in the Quick-Time Performance right lane. B-gas car right here with a Gene Fulton underneath the hood for him. This car has won multiple times on the Southeast Gasser Tour. He's going to go down the track alongside the B-gas current points leader, Ken Rainwater, out of Kimberly, Alabama. So this one is something for the fans at home and catching it on YouTube. The Renegade of Rainwater and the Leroy car of Wayne Swafford. Two quick B-gas cars right here. That's going to be put on display for you here on Friday night. And I'll sit back, let these guys go through their routine, and I'll let you hear these small blocks whine. Swafford has to back out of it, and when that happens, Rainwater backs out of it as well. 1:16 to a 1:18 on the reaction time. Swafford beat him on the reaction time. That's where everything else ran off. A couple of A-gas cars coming your way next. The 57 Pontiac of Greg Stelz sits in the MAHLE Motorsports Insurance left lane. Stelz out of Wapaka, Wisconsin, in the car he calls the Joker. He has a 477 Fulton under the hood this weekend after his primary motor took a dump on the dyno and blew up. Ray Ballou in the Bad Alibi is going to be over there in the Quick-Time Performance lane on the right-hand side in the 1955 Ford. out of Canton, North Carolina in that 63 Comet, the Black Betty. Pumping that B-Gas car down the racetrack to a very solid number for B-Gas. Wes Clapp says thumbs up. Here we go with Alan Pittman next up in the 41 Willys. Car, Pittman is Sword Racing on the side right there. Mike Sword Excavating. Gene Fulton, 451 cubic inch motor underneath the hood for them. And I think if we talk to Pittman, he would say it has been an absolute struggle as he built this chassis and is a chassis builder. Just with the straight axle and all the different things going on in the race car, it is much different than the race cars that he builds for Pro Modified and other disciplines that he races in and drives in. If this car ever does get straight and can develop some consistency, it can make some big waves in this points battle in A-Gas at any moment. And all the A-Gas drivers are just waiting for that moment because they know eventually it's going to happen. And there we see another example of a violent leave of the starting line and the car turning hard to the right. And you got to give credit to Alan Pittman and how well he can drive a race car, because this car has been in some very precarious situations, and he has kept that car straight, and there's not a scratch on it. We move from A-Gas to Superstock, and the man who's leading our Superstock points again, Jerry Dean in the last Rebel, who did an incredible wheel stand in his first pass here today. Hope you're able to catch that on our live feed. He's in the same lane. Going to try to get that car toned down a little bit because nobody wants to see his drive shaft as he's doing a wheel stand, especially as it comes down. It tends to break things in the front end. So hopefully that was not the case for him after the first run, and here he is for a second pass. Out of Shelbyville, West Virginia, and the quick draw Falcon finds herself in the Larissa Motorsports Insurance left lane. She's going to go down the track alongside a fellow SEGA racer. That is Brad Wimberly in the Southern Sizzler out of McDonough, Georgia. Wimberly in the 62 Comet with a Lamar Walden race engine under the hood for him. Stalls the car on the lead. She'll try to get that refired as she goes down the racetrack to get it off the racetrack, but Wimberly powers through the top end. Decent elapsed time for a SEGA car right there, so that'll put him in the mix of this thing here tomorrow for SEGA. Superstock car coming up from Griffin, Georgia. That is none other than Johnny Royals in his car that he calls the Breeze. Now, I think he may have his son in the car. They were going to make a driver switch, and I'm trying to see if I see Johnny down there beside the car, but I don't catch him yet. So Johnny may be behind the wheel instead of his son Chad, but he put Chad Royals behind the wheel. at the Brainerd race, and that car ran as good, if not better, than any time before. So. Out of Moore, South Carolina, comes up next in the Iron Eagle, the 63 split window A gas entry. Gene Fulton power plant underneath there. As I say so many times, it seems like Gene Fulton dominates building race engines here in the Southeast Gassers, but there is good reason for that, as there has been events where a Fulton race engine has won all three categories in our gas classes. Jessie Adler bringing her husband Barry back to the starting line. Barry had a decent run his first time out. Going to try to run now in the dusk of the evening, see if the track conditions make it more conducive for a lapse time. Loses control in the lights. I see the car as the smoke clears. Looks like it's on all four wheels. Now we just need to see Barry Adler get out of that race car. Emergency personnel is on the way. All right, we do have a report from the top end that he is out of the race car and fine. So Barry Adler, a hairy predicament down there in the lights, in the speed traps, but he is out of the race car and talking with emergency personnel. So now to assess the damage to the race car, but race cars can be repaired and fixed, and I don't think that car turned over or anything of that nature. Don't know if it kissed the wall or not, because there was a lot of smoke down there on the big end. So I was unable to see through that. But the most important thing, Barry Adler out of the race car and doing fine. We do have reports that Barry Adler did touch the wall down there, so don't know what kind of damage to assess. But once again, Barry Adler out of the race car, talking with track personnel, and will be fine. So looks like we just got to blow off some things. Don't think there's any reflectors or timing devices that have been damaged out there. We don't have that report yet, but they've already just called for the track to be blown off real well. So we'll be back with you as soon as we get back to a safe racetrack. All right, Jimmy Huff out here with a hoopty coop, going to be into the quick time performance right lane out of Loganville, Georgia. And the Lebanon, Tennessee racer, Ben Shaw, going to make his third hit. And he'll be in the MAHLE Motorsports Insurance left lane in that 1941 Chevy truck. I can't call it all Chevy, but it's got a Ford power plant underneath. Ben Shaw and his dad, Kevin, they put that race truck together out there in their shop in Lebanon, Tennessee. Ben been driving now for about 3 or 4 years. Really improved the performance of that truck. They've got some sponsors on board helping them with the power plant. So looks like he's going to make a single right here as Jimmy Huff is being pushed back. Don't know what it might be. Maybe some more air pressure needed in the tires, but still shaking and bouncing as he comes off the line, but not as bad as the previous 2 runs. So maybe a little more air pressure will help him get where he needs to be right there. A couple of A-gas racers coming around the corner now. We've got in the MAHLE Motorsports left lane. That is going to be Chase Howard from Greer, South Carolina in the 67 Chevelle Super Sport, the USA 1. All right, Doyle Lynn here in the right-hand lane in the quick time performance lane in his 51 Henry J, called the Honky Tonk. He's out of Dalton, Georgia. Christy Burchett going to back him up in that quick time lane. Chase's brother backing him up to the attention of Scotty Cannon. 6-time pro modified world champion stands behind the car. Really been helping a lot with the chassis and helping get the car a lot better with their performance, and that is shown this year as he sits number 2, does Howard, in our points category right now. So Howard slows down from his first run, but a consistent run for Howard. A little bit of a bobble off the starting line right there, and that might be where he lost that 10th. All right, Seymour, Tennessee racer Brad Henry right here in the Wild Child, the 41 Willis. He finds himself in the quick time performance lane. Good looking race car. That blue takes me all the way back to Gene Cromer, the Moonlighter, out of Belton, South Carolina. Or Anderson, South Carolina, I should say. A little soft on the lead, but got hard on it through the middle and then backed off on the big end, but solid straight pass for him. A couple of SEGA cars sit in the water box right now. That is Mark Halford In the Sasquatch will find himself in the quick time performance lane in his 1956 Chevy. So the Sasquatch there in the quick time lane. And Todd Oden, the 24 world champion in our C-Gas category, finds himself in the MAHLE Motorsports Insurance left-hand lane in his 1958 Delray. Coming to the attention of his wife Gina Oden, bringing him to the lights. Crew Chief Joey Reed behind that one-way technology motor that sits underneath the hood for Todd Oden. 301 cubic inches for Oden in the left-hand lane. Oden had some problems and blew a motor at our Jackson, Tennessee race, so a fresh bullet in here for him for this race. Todd Oden all over the racetrack, uncharacteristic for him, as that car makes a hard move out there after the 1-2 shift to the right. And Todd Oden pushes the clutch in. The veteran driver keeps that car safe and off the rail. And they'll try to get things worked out and get that car going straight for tomorrow's qualifications. All right, now Jimmy Huff in the Hoopty Coop finds himself in the quick time lane. A little bit of bouncing right there for the Loganville, Georgia driver as he makes a short shift in the 1-2 shift. Hustles that Hoopty Coop on down the racetrack. A couple of super stockers right here. Don Wilmot going to be in the quick time performance right lane. Yes, in his 66 Mustang Coupe. Sevierville, Tennessee racer Bryant Dalton Sr. going to be in the MAHLE Motorsports Insurance left lane. So a couple of Fords on the line right here. All right, Mark Jones up next in the Mini Quick 3. He'll be in the MAHLE Motorsports Insurance left lane. 374 cubic inches of one-way technology underneath the hood. And if his name Jones and one-way are synonymous with each other, that is part of the Jones family that built and run one-way technologies. impressive job of driving right there, as the car didn't really launch straight for Jones. And then when he gets down to the speed traps, the car kind of made a little bit of a move toward the center, and he keeps it straight. So good driving job by Mark Jones right there, as we got both cars shut down. Then track personnel going to go out and check the racetrack, and we'll take this little pause with them and let the voice heal up before we get back to practice round action. Alfred Adams up next here in his C-Gas car out of Clover, South Carolina. The 55 Chevy with a Gene Fulton power plant underneath the hood. All right, we're going to do a drag right here according to Wes Clapp on the racetrack. So we'll be down for a few minutes while we get a good drag in for our racers. What other track does this for us on a Friday night? It's sure in Jackson, Tennessee. But, we appreciate all the work these guys are doing out here on a Friday night just for a good testing tune to give the racers a better representative of what the track will be like tomorrow and keeping them safe as well. So thanks Wes Clapp, Mark Rogers, and all the crew down there. All right, Wayne Swafford back out here in his B-Gas car that he calls Leroy, a little Chevy 2 1966 model. Built by Billy Edwards and got a Gene Fulton power plant underneath the hood. Had a little trouble getting off the starting line and getting down the racetrack in the earlier test pass he made when he went down the track alongside Ken Rainwater, but now going to make a solo pass in the Quick Time Performance right lane and try to make sure that he's got everything worked out for tomorrow's qualifying and eliminations. A lot of rebound as that car set the front wheels down. Good looking leave as, you know, he had the wheels up right there, but as that car came down, it really bounced hard, so Swafford had to abort another run. All right, another B-Gas entry right here. Mike Blackwell out of Campobello, South Carolina, in the Thunderstruck, the 1955 Thunderbird. Gene Fulton race engine underneath the hood here for Mike Blackwell in that 55 Thunderbird. His daughter-in-law Mandy bringing him up to the line as he gets ready to make a pass here in the Larice Motorsports Insurance left lane. Mike Blackwell, a good three-quarter track pull right there, and he shuts it down right there, right after the 3:30 mark. I got no information on this car. I do know it's an H-gas, judging by the motor in that car. Don't know who's driving it. I know it's a Studebaker. Looks like maybe a 62. I don't know Studebakers. But I know it's a Studebaker. Try to get some more information for you before tomorrow, as he does have to fill out a tech form, and we'll know more about the driver and the car tomorrow. But this is going to be an H-gas entry, so it's a V6 or a four-cylinder underneath the hood there for this driver. All right, Barry Lynn making his first pass of the night down here. We got an injured Barry Lynn in there. He had a little accident on his left hand. Spent a few hours at the emergency room, I think, on Thursday, maybe Wednesday. But I told him, I said, hey, you're okay. It's not your shifting hand, so get that little red wagon loaded and get it up the hill. And he's out of Greer, South Carolina, so he didn't have any problem doing that because he had no intentions of missing this race. Par race engine underneath the hood for him, 477 cubic inches in that 1965 Chevy 2 wagon. Enoch Dixon going to be in the MAHLE Motorsports Insurance left lane. Barry Lynn with a good run right there, so he got off the line very well. Good 60-foot time for Barry Lynn. Couple of Chevy Super Stockers on the line right here. That is Kenny Phillips in the Street Legal, who's been in that quick time performance lane all 3 runs that he's went down today. Going to make another pass. He's out of Campobello, South Carolina. And the Doraville, Georgia racer, Rob Walden, in his 63 Biscayne, sits in the the MAHLE Motorsports Insurance left-hand lane. Walden, the owner of Lamar Walden Race Engines, his father, Mr. 409 Lamar Walden. He now owns that business and runs second-generation racing. Good clean run by both of those drivers right there, as Walden gets to the stripe first by the narrowest of margins. Alan Pittman in that 41 Willis of the Swart and Pittman race team finds himself in the left-hand lane. Swart's grading on the side right there. AP race cars. Ray Ballou out of Dalton, Georgia in the Bad Alibi, the 1955 Ford, finds himself in the quick time lane on the right-hand side. All right, John McLaughlin up here in the 48 Anglia that he calls the disorderly conduct. He's out of the Alabama area in a B-gas car right here. So he's going to make a pass in the quick time performance lane. His wife Jody bringing him up to the beams. All right, AFX driver Alan Platt coming back up here into Georgia Shaker 3 with the 427 FE underneath the hood. right, Greg Stelz back around here. Going to have a couple of A-gas cars going down the track. Stelz in his 57 Pontiac, the Joker. He'll be in the quick time performance lane, and Todd Blackwell in the Slingshot, that little 66 Nova. He's going to be over in the MAHLE Motorsports Insurance left lane with his Par Race engine underneath the hood. Blackwell goes over into the other lane. Oh, what a great job of driving right there. Blackwell recovers, and man, Stelz is able to get out of the throttle, get on the brake. What a near miss right there. Both those A-gas cars accelerating very hard off the line. But man, that Slingshot took a right turn on him at that 1-2 shift. And folks, that is a credit to the drivers of these cars. What a job by both of those gentlemen avoiding each other. What a great job right there. So Greg Stelz gets on the binders, holds up, does not have a catastrophic ending, and they both will be able to be here tomorrow for qualifying. We got next up Ken Rainwater in the Renegade 67 Chevy 2 or 66 Chevy 2. He's out of Kimberly, Alabama. Mechanical fuel injected is the way they power this race car. One-way technologies heads, also providing power for those cylinder heads. Rainwater is our current points leader and man who has won 2 of the last 3 races. That is a good one right there for Ken Rainwater. Reaction time and not where he wants it to be, but 60-foot time's looking pretty good, and a elapsed time that will set the woods on fire in B-gas. Super stock car up next to Jerry Dean. Uncharacteristic, Jerry Dean making, I think, his 3rd or 4th pass of the night right here. Remember, he stood it up on its top, on its rear wheels, and made a huge wheel stand on his first pass down the quick time performance lane. He's going to find himself in the MAHLE Motorsports Insurance lane for this pass. Dean's car called the Last Rebel 2, who now leads our points category in super stock, and he hails out of Lacey Spring, Alabama. All right, another super stocker right here, back-to-back, the Hayden, Alabama racer, Alan Lovelady, in his 67 Camaro called the Underdog. He'll be in the MAHLE Motorsports Insurance left lane for this pass that he's about to make as well. All right, super stocker right here out of Gardendale, Alabama, Tony T. He's going to be coming up right here in the Public Enemy, that 56 Chevy. All right, Todd Oden coming up next in the 58 Delray in the Reese Motorsports Insurance left lane. The idle's up on that thing a little bit. I don't know what's going on with that car. It's not idling down. The double X of Todd Oden, last year's world champion in our C-Gas category. Hard to see that race car getting to the top end right there, but a good pass right there as he shuts it off a little bit early. And a good elapsed time for C-Gas as he shut that car off early. '58 Corvette of Kenneth Phillips right here next on the starting line. He'll be in the Quick Time Performance right lane. Gene Fulton race engine underneath the hood for him. Fiance Keeley backing him up. Man, car sounded like it was bouncing around on the big end right there, so that was a little bit of a peculiar run, I would say, for Kenneth Phillips. All right, there's the Black Betty out of Canton, North Carolina, Bill Revels. He's going to be in the Reese Motorsports Insurance left lane in that 63 Comet. He calls the Black Betty. Todd Hertel race engine underneath the hood for him. Bill runs in our B-Gas category, so you're going to see a B-Gas car here, 8 pounds per cubic inch of displacement. Don Wilmot, superstock racer out of Dalton, Georgia, sits right here on the line as he gets ready with his burnout in that 66 Mustang Coupe. Wilmot been a racer with us for several years now. Got some paint on that car a couple of years ago, and as he painted it, it seems that the performance has been picked up by that, although I know paint doesn't do that. Don has slowly creeped up on it and worked on his program and continues to get that car better and better each time. Good safe run right there by Wilmot as he takes that Mustang through the top end. Wayne Swafford back at it again to try to get that wheel stand and bounce out of his race car, as he is over in the quick time performance right lane for this pass right here where he has stayed all day. He's had trouble all day, so he figures he might as well stick with the same lane to see if he's worked out his troubles. Billy Edwards race car right there, tuned by Brian Harris. Gene Fulton power plant underneath the hood for him. Strong B-gas runner right here for the car called Leroy, driven by Wayne and owned by Wayne Swafford out of Fingerville, South Carolina. Swafford still got that bounce in the car, but he stays in it and keeps shifting gears. So the bouncing didn't affect him none. He just stuck his foot in there and pushed the throttle on down and kept ripping gears. That's what you might have to do tomorrow come first round of eliminations if you don't want to pack your car up early. All right, Enoch Dixon coming around the corner in his A-gas entry right here. He's going to go over to the QuickTime Performance right-hand lane for this pass. All right, just want to let you guys know, competitors know, 9 o'clock going to be it right here. So you got 19 minutes. 19 minutes and we shutting it down. So 9 o'clock is going to be the shutdown. So if you want to make another pass, you better get it in gear, guys. And I mean that literally and figuratively. All right, Chase Howard coming around the corner, making his final pass of the night in that 67 Chevelle Super Sport, the USA 1, powered by the Gene Fulton 477. He's made some really good runs here tonight with great ETs. As he gets ready to try to make another one right here. Howard gets out of shape on the big end down there. Unable to keep it straight, but still an electric elapsed time, but that car was kind of washing out on the top end down there. Good job of driving by Chase Howard, holding on to that one. Once again, H-gas car, don't know anything about the driver, nothing about it. I know that's a Studebaker, that's about all I know. And he's got H-gas on the side, so sorry about that. I don't have the pre-entry information in front of me, so we'll find out who that is and get that rectified before tomorrow. 65 Chevy, the Chick Magnet. Long smoky burnout right there from him. 477 cubic inches of Gene Fulton power underneath the hood. Man leading the points right now in our A-gas category, and a defending world champion in our A-gas category. Once again, going to go down that right-hand lane, the QuickTime Performance lane. All right, we're down to 4 minutes left, so this is 4 minutes. I hear you coming. Leslie Horn making a pass right there. Not his best, but making one all the same. All right, Alan Lovelady, Hayden, Alabama, back up here for, I think this is the 4th time with the underdog, that 67 Camaro. He must be trying to work out some bugs on something in his super stock entry. All right, this is the last call for the concession stand as well. So make sure you make your final selections at the concession stand. And the lanes are now closed, so All right, fans, that's going to wrap up everything tonight for here in testing at Knoxville Dragway. We'll come back to you tomorrow for our first round of qualifying starting at 1 o'clock. If you want to join us on our YouTube channel, that'll be the best way to see it, as we will be bringing you all the action here from Knoxville Dragway.
Larice Motorsports Insurance offers drag racers the broadest insurance policies in the industry. Larice Motorsports Insurance was created by racers for racers. Larice insures race cars on and off the track, trailers and equipment. Larice even pays racers contingencies at the fling bracket races. Don't wait until it's too late. Call Larice Motorsports Insurance today.